Hello everyone, how y'all doing? Hope you're having a great day so far. I'm still a bit under the weather with some cough, so if I cough during the video, please, I do apologize. I wanted to do a quick video about my webcam weird behavior that I've been having. It's a Logitech C922 Pro. Up until a couple of months ago, it was working fine. I always had like the default settings on OBS. And it was okay-ish. The quality was not brilliant, but it was good enough for stuff. A friend of mine told me that I could optimize some settings on it, so I checked it out, what I could do. Go to properties, and here on configure video, there are some things that you can tweak. One of the more interesting things that I could actually use was to go to the exposure, remove the auto exposure, and be able to increase or decrease it. You see if it's higher, it's a bit blurry, but if I decrease it to -5, it's a bit more fluid. But to compensate, you have to put the gain here on max. So you have like 2 or 3 slots that you can tweak on exposure and just increase the gain to compensate for that. Also, I can remove the auto white balance because I didn't really need it. My recording environment lighting is already pretty standard. I turn on a specific lighting that gives me this look regardless of what light is coming from outside. So I was happy to be able to disable that and just fine tune it instead of having it sometimes go yellow and sometimes go white and sometimes be like weird bluish tones. The thing is that when you can apply these settings and they work fine for this session, but if you reboot your machine, you lose the settings, and next time you launch OBS, you need to go back here and do properties and change all that stuff again, which becomes very annoying after a while. I searched on the internet for solutions for this, and I found this thing called Logitech G HUB. I'm gonna disable the camera here so I can use it on Logitech G HUB. It looks something like this, and you have the settings here that you can control the exposure and priority. Haven't noticed any difference whatsoever between frame rate and exposure priority. I have the same issues with both of them. I can tweak the exposure here, which actually works, but there is no gain setting anywhere, so I can't increase the gain. So it's good that it saves these settings, but it's not saving the gain alteration. And one thing that I noticed once I started using Logitech G HUB was that when I went back to OBS, a lot of the cameras that I used to have stopped working, and I ended up discovering that it was the frame rate. So a Logitech C922 is supposed to do full HD at 30 frames per second and 720p at 60 frames per second. Suddenly, after I started using a Logitech G HUB, it was half that. In practical terms, I can't really tell much of a difference between 30 and 15 frames per second or 30 and 60. I don't know, maybe it's just me, don't have like the perception for that, but it doesn't, like, if you select match output, it will just break. It will not give you what it's supposed to give. Like, a highest frame rate is supposed to give you the highest possible and work. It's not. You have to manually select the 15 frames per second on full HD for this to work, which is a bit annoying. Frame rate still seems decent enough for me. It doesn't seem like it feels like 30 frames per second, but again, I can't really tell much of a difference between those kind of settings, so I don't know. I could have lived with this, just recreate all the scenes, put everything 15 frames per second, whatever. One thing that really annoyed me though is that when I came to Discord, the preview wasn't working, which was annoying. I had to start using the virtual camera from here and go here and use the OBS virtual camera to start having a camera on Discord, which really annoys me. And you might say, oh, it's because you have the camera open on Discord. Well, no, I can go here to properties, deactivate the camera, go to Discord, switch to C922. It doesn't work. It blinks a little bit the white things on the camera itself. I'll activate again so you guys can see me speak. It like the Logitech has two LEDs on the side, and when the camera is on, both of them are on. And when you try to switch it on, they blink for a second and then they go back to black when it doesn't work. So you can actually tell that it's trying to switch into that setting and failing to switch into that setting. So that's why I know that it's the problem with the camera and not with the thing. I guess OBS is trying to do the same thing that Discord is trying to do the same thing that OBS would do, which would be to match output frames per second. And the camera would just die because the frames per second that it's supposed to have, which would be 30 frames per second, doesn't work with the camera anymore. So Discord can't handle the camera. I haven't found any way on Discord to configure to use 15 frames per second. I can use the virtual camera for OBS, but that would imply launching OBS every time I need to use the camera on Discord, which is stupid to have. So I searched online a little bit more. Some other people had a similar issue. They were told to use Logitech Capture instead. I also installed the Logitech camera settings, which pretty much has the same settings available as the Logitech G HUB. The Logitech Capture is slightly different of an application. It allows you to like composite a virtual camera. And has also access to the settings from the Logitech camera. So I will show you quickly what it can do. Deactivate the camera here. Go into Logitech Capture. It launches. So the benefit from the Logitech G HUB would be that whenever your computer rebooted, Logitech G HUB would be automatically launched and use the same settings as previously having. Logitech Capture instead allows you to have like some composite on stuff. You can have multiple sources and you can do some weird mixing of sources, like have a countdown setting, have some, where is it? Watermark thing. You can composite your scenes, like having, it's here. You can switch between different views. You can even put like a share screen here instead of being like the thing. I could actually be showing a screen, and then you can use this as a virtual camera inside whatever you want to use. So if I go to Discord right now, and I switch to Logic Capture, it shows me that camera, which is good, but it's still not what I want. I want to have access to the camera directly. So yeah, and all the settings that exist here are the same as the Logitech G HUB. No option for the gain. I can control the priority, which I still have no clue what it does. It looks exactly the same to me. I tested both settings with reboots in between. It looks exactly the same. I have no clue what the hell that means. Image settings just change the brightness, contrast, and that kind of stuff. And there is no option for the gain or exposure. I can't even control exposure from here, which is annoying. So yeah, it's more limited. You can kind of use it if you want a cheap virtual camera. I guess it can be configured to auto launch. I don't have it auto launching, but I could configure it somehow to do that. Anyways, this would not be the ideal scenario that I would like to have. I would like to have activate. Okay, I would like to have the camera automatically auto-detect 30 frames per second and with optimum settings and just working without having to deal with all this crap and the dog barking outside. One weird behavior that I saw and that I now can't really replicate was that when I would create a new scene here, I had this yesterday, and today when I was trying to film this, I wasn't able to replicate it. I would go to video capture, a new video capture device, and it would automatically show the default setting. And when I would put custom and 198, it would automatically do this and work. And today it's not working anymore. and I have no clue why. 15 frames per second works, 30 frames per second does not. I don't know what's up with Logitech. I don't know how hard it is to write a driver for a webcam, but this doesn't seem like rocket science. I don't get why this isn't working as it should be. Anyways, that's the video that I had to record. My camera is having some weird stuff. Especially, I think what annoys me more is on Discord, because on OBS I can tweak the settings here and it just works, limited to frame rate, or supposedly limited to frame rate. I don't know, I don't care. But on Discord I wanted to just work and not be able to have to set up virtual cameras for it to work under Discord. And probably I will have similar issue with other applications that use the webcam from here on, including like the browser. I haven't tested it properly on the browser, but I assume that it's gonna screw up somehow. So if anyone knows anything about why Logitech sucks, or any way to make it unsuck, that would be very grateful if you could leave a comment below. Other than that, hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to support the things that I do, you can go to patreon.com/psenough to help me do more content for you guys to enjoy this kind of video logs and other stuff that I've been organizing. The latest thing that I'm organizing right now is a couple of live streams that are gonna happen on the 11th and 13th of August, so in a few days. On the 11th, I'm gonna have, this is for demo scene mostly, I'm gonna have a session doing some crossword challenge solving thing that you could participate from Twitch directly. So multiple people trying to solve the same crosswords thing. It's something that I've been developing, and it's finally ready, and I'm curious to test it, and I hope enough people will show up. So please do show up and try to use the thing. It's gonna be on Twitch TV/psenough. And on Friday I'm gonna be hosting Shader Jam session with DJ Ronnie Prees, spinning some music, and half a dozen, maybe 10 people doing live shader coding of different stuff, and we're just gonna have fun as a pre-party for the Evoke demo party that is coming up on the 14th of August on Saturday. So yeah, that's it from this video. See you next video. Bye bye everyone, take care.